Hello and welcome, and thank you for being here for this class. Let's get started. Okay, I'll just pop this up on the screen. All right, so today's class is how to break free from overwhelm. I'm going to show you 5 keys to activating a life that is more peaceful, more calm, and has more ease. And it all starts with self-discovery. So for those of you who don't know me, just a little bit about who I am and how I serve. So my name's Trish Rock. I'm a trusted intuitive guide for aware women, really helping them find their voice, find their truth, their purpose, and their light. I do this through my psychic abilities, and I use the tools of tarot, oracle, numerology, and chakra energy. I also use many of my clair gifts, and I'm also a teacher, a mentor of empowerment, and I interpret messages from spirit, from your higher self, and really clarify them. I'm one of 8 female change makers for 2020 in YMAG. I'm also an enlightened change maker for 2020 in Holistic Bliss magazine. I'm a holistic health and wellbeing practitioner, and I've done a postgrad in mind body medicine. I've also studied Reiki, and for 30 years or more, I've really been helping women find a new perspective so they can find more calm, peace, clarity, and purpose. I'm the creator of the Dynamic Transformation 5-step process. I'm also an author, a speaker. I have a TV show, and I am one of the podcasters with my partner Janita on the A Guided Life podcast. All right, let's get into it. So today's agenda, these are the 5 keys that we're going to be looking at today. The first steps to self-discovery, how to start saying yes to life. Is it overwhelm or separation that you are feeling? We're going to have a little look at that. You might be surprised with the answer there. Now, the power of meditation and breath is a practice that is a key on a daily basis to really bring you to that calm and that peace. And a little bit about sabotage then in key number 5 and how you can move past that so that you can feel less overwhelm and stress, feel more empowered and alive, and make better choices in the moment, and feel more calm, more peace, and finally feel like you are back in charge of your life. Yes. Let's get started now. Key number 1 is self-discovery. And if you are here on this masterclass, in this class, you are obviously taking those first steps of awareness into self-discovery. And, it really is about acceptance, awareness, and the willingness to say yes to you. I want to show you a quote now, which is really powerful. It's a really powerful quote. It's from M. Scott Peck from The Road Less Traveled, that book. This is the opening paragraph. Life is difficult. This is a great truth, one of the greatest truths. It's a great truth because once we truly see this truth, we transcend it. Once we truly know that life is difficult, once we truly understand and accept that, then life is no longer difficult. It's powerful, right? It's really powerful. Let me get back up on the screen here so I can talk to you about this. What if you accepted that? What if you actually did accept that life was difficult? How would your life feel? When we are challenged on a daily basis, we often go into resistance, and the resistance actually brings more of what we don't want. right? It's the law of attraction. It's the like energy matching the like energy that's coming in. And our energy and our vibe and our thoughts and our words are drawing to us the same. So when we are overwhelmed or stressed and we're not really just seeing the experience as an experience, we're actually getting caught up in the drama of difficulty or the challenge. It's resistance and it's difficult to move through it. But, you know, if you truly accepted, yeah, you know what? Life here is difficult because our human life is expanding and evolving our spirit. So we need these challenges. From that attitude, from that point of view and that acceptance, life does actually become more flowing and easier. So, you know, the awareness then of when you are in the present moment and the awareness of being in acceptance and not in resistance will really bring better choices for you, because in that awareness you can say, oh, okay, what do I choose right now to think, say, do, feel? And it's in that acceptance and that awareness that you truly are discovering yourself. You truly are in self-discovery. And it's in those moments that the power is. And your willingness to start here and be in that present moment and, you know, stop yourself getting caught up in that whirlwind of challenge or difficulty that is happening in life, and acceptance of, oh, okay, how do I choose to feel and act about this right now? It really will change everything for you. And it just takes the acceptance, the awareness, and the willingness to be present and to breathe into it. We're going to be talking a little bit more about this later. But these are the first steps to self-discovery, is really being in awareness of what's going on around you. Let me just share the screen again now. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, there it is. So this is a really beautiful quote, and it's powerful. It really is powerful. So I want to ask you, how often are you in the present moment? How often are you in the present moment? This really is important. It changes your reactions to everything, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that too as we go through. But I just want you to keep that question in your mind. How often am I in the present moment? Now, one of my clients really benefited from the work that we did together, moving into that present moment energy, because a lot of our thoughts, and this happens with many clients, a lot of our thoughts are in the fears from the past and emotional responses and old beliefs and other memories. And a lot of our fear is also in the future. What will happen? What will happen? What will happen? And it can really create a lot of anxiety, a lot of overwhelm, a lot of stress, and a lot of confusion in the present moment. And when Lyndall came into that beautiful present moment and we had a look at the fears and whether they were true or not, and really became aware and in the moment and present, you know, the fear and the old beliefs really dissipated, and there was a lot of clarity, which enabled her to really move forward beautifully in her relationship. And it can make a difference in any area of your life, that clarity, that purpose. So key number 2, say yes to yourself and say yes to life. Right? This can be so scary, and this can actually create overwhelm, right? So drawing that line in the sand. Now, you can have overwhelm just thinking about that, right? Because the fears all come up about the unknown and all the rest of it. And that's once again projecting into the future. And then you could have already stepped over the line, and now the overwhelm of what do I do now comes in, right? But saying yes to yourself and really crossing that line is the next step. And, you know, often we are driven to this line in the sand of where we're just like, you know what, I'm done. It's time for the next step. We get to that point sometimes through frustration, through overwhelm, through enough is enough, right? I'm done. That resolve to the universe, I'm done. But we also get through that from adversities that kind of force us to cross that line. And so really drawing that line in the sand, it's a message out to the universe to say, you know, I'm ready. I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready to be more present. I'm ready to say yes to me and to life. And, you know, where are you right now? Have you drawn that line in the sand? Have you drawn that line in the sand? Are you too overwhelmed or not clear enough as to why? And you know, sometimes the fear of stepping over that line is holding you back. But ultimately, the fear of where you are right now and not moving forward will be stronger, will be less than the fear of moving forward, and you will step over. You will step over that line. And, you know, is this you? Do you say yes, like put the toe over the line and then quickly change your mind out of fear? I know I've done that many, many times. Like, yep, I'm ready. Oh, no. It's like dipping the toe in the water and going, oh, no, I just don't know. But I want to say to you that the scariest part about saying yes to yourself and moving forward in whatever area of life this is, and it could just be a really simple, you know, I'm not going to have that habit anymore, or I'm not going to be in that situation anymore, right? I'm not going to be treated like that anymore. It could be as simple as that. The scariest part is the unknown. But I want you to know that as soon as you make that resolve and you step over the line, it's not unknown anymore. And everything will start to line up for you. And, you know, having that trust that everything will be shown to you is, it's absolutely true. Everything is shown to you, but you've got to have that trust first and step over. Say yes to yourself, whatever area of life it is, and say, yeah, I deserve better, or I deserve this, or I'm going for it, or it's time, I'm done. Whatever it is for you, make that resolve, and the universe will really bring the next steps for you. One of my clients, Jess, was, as you can see here in this testimony, she wasn't really sure why she needed a session with me, but there needed to be a line in the sand there for Jess, right? And, you know, I deal with this daily with people that come to me who don't really know, there's no clarity, you know, and so we find the clarity, and the clarity then allows you to step over that line with confidence and to really be clear on that. And step into the unknown. Jess is an amazing artist and a talented intuitive, has incredible gifts to serve in this world. And, it was just the clarity of the next step. And that could be for you here as well, your clarity of your next step to get you over that line and say yes to yourself. Okay, overwhelm or separation. This is an interesting one. Sometimes you're actually just separated, feeling separated from who you really are. And it's not actually overwhelm. But there are times where it is overwhelm. Now, I want to ask you this. Can you feel when you are not in flow? Now, I was going to ask you, can you feel when you are in flow? But we all have those days. Let me pop back up on the screen here. We all have those days where we just know we're in flow. We can feel it. We get to the end of the day. Oh, wow, that was full of flow that day. Everything just lined up. There was synchronicities galore. We remember those days and we go, oh, that was really cool, right? But what about all the other days where it's clunky and we're not in flow? We tend to just kind of write them off as a bad day. But when you're really present, you can absolutely turn that into flow from the get-go. Now, there's two types of overwhelm I'd like to talk about here. The first one is physical overwhelm. And if you're finding yourself overbooked, overscheduled, overworked, not enough time, right? Everything just overloaded. If you find yourself like that, the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, do I need to be this busy? Can I delegate? Can I reschedule anything? Can I schedule time in for me and my family? Can I outsource anything here? How can I create less overwhelm in this busy schedule? And, some of you might be saying, oh, no, I can't, I have to do it all. And that's okay. But, there will come a time where that belief might change. And it certainly did for me, because I always had to be busy. I was a workaholic. I always had everything else doing, right? And saying yes to things. And, if you want something done, ask a busy person, right? Because we say yes, and we get it done. So I was always overscheduled. But, it became a real health issue for me. And I did miss out on being present for a lot of experiences with my children. The reason since that I've discovered that I kept myself so busy is that I felt more worthy. I felt more valuable if I was saying yes to everything, if I was out there helping everyone, if I was the hero, right? It made me feel more valuable and more worthy. But when it gets to the point where it's affecting your health, you really have to decide, okay, what part of me needs to be busy? What am I trying to prove? What validation do I need here? And can I outsource or delegate or move some of these things so that I have some life here as well as a schedule? So that's the first thing I want to ask you to ask yourself, because if you're in physical overwhelm, you definitely can take steps right now to change that. Now, the other overwhelm we get is when we're reactive, when we're acting from when we're reacting from an emotional imbalance. And you would have all had those moments where someone was in front of you and they said something and really triggered you. And, then there was this whole drama about it and you're like, oh, they've done this and they've done that and they said this. And it can become a real drama. Sometimes you can lose friends or workmates over situations like that, even partners, right? Children can be really estranged. So when you're in that kind of reactive responses, that can get really overwhelming too, because when you're caught up in all of that stuff, it's very difficult to be present. And then everything else on top of that in that day just adds to it, right? It adds fuel to the fire, and your whole day just seems to just be a mess. So with reactive overwhelm, this is about breathing, and we're going to talk about breathing. So the next key, it's really about stopping for a moment. If you are triggered by something someone does or says, it's about stopping in that moment, being present once again, like in key one, being aware of the present moment and just taking in a breath and just asking yourself, okay, why do I feel triggered about that? Now, this may take some practice, right? Because those reactive responses are coming from experiences you've had in life. Other times you've been hurt, or someone's been mean to you, or said something awful, or you haven't felt good enough, right? It's coming from an old emotion that's stored in your sacral chakra that reacts when you get triggered. It's an old fear, right? Someone might say something to you and it will activate a reaction from an event that might have happened at school where you felt really hurt or bullied or spoken down to or made feel stupid. So it's actually many times not even the person in front of us that's triggering us that is the issue. It's the response that we're having to it. So the best thing to do is just to breathe into it and go, okay. And then you're acting from a more secure place, a more present place. And then you can choose to ask a better question in that situation and solve it, or gracefully just say, okay, I just need to process this, and walk away and process why you were triggered. And as I said, it's not easy to do. It takes practice, but when you're in the present moment, it becomes a more natural thing just to stop and breathe and say, oh, that's triggered me, instead of emotionally just lashing out straight away, which we do. And so even just that action of being more present will stop a lot of those reactions and the overwhelm that then comes into your life when all the rest of the day goes bad, right? All right, let's hop up on the screen here again. Okay, so just keep in mind when you aren't in flow, try to feel that. Now, I had a great example of this a little while back. Like I had 2 emotional roller coasters before 8 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, and I was getting back into all old stuff. And I thought, okay, I've got a choice here. In the moment, I've got a choice here. I can breathe into this and go find something that brings me joy and get out of this mindset, or I can allow it to affect my whole day. And I chose flow. I chose flow, and I got back into flow immediately. And you can have that choice too. And, this is where the freedom and peace comes in. And, these are the results that the people in my 5-step program achieve in the dynamic transformation, because we all want to feel freedom and peace. And it all is a different, it's all different for each of us. My freedom and what I define as freedom is different to what you would define as freedom. So it really brings that zest for life, though, gets you back in your passion and your purpose and gives you direction. And ultimately, when you're feeling secure and clear, a lot of the overwhelm and stress just dissipates. All right, key number 4, the power of breath, silence, and self-reflection. This is about reconnecting. It's about taking that breath. Now, a lot of the times when we are not breathing, And when we are anxious and not feeling good, we're in a fight or flight response. Now, this used to be, well, it still is. It's a response our body has to danger, and we need it. It's a great. We need to know if there's just someone pointing a gun in front of us. We need to flee or fight? And then whatever we choose, our body creates energy just in those parts that need to either flee or fight. And that's great. But for many of us and much of society now, we're in that state constantly. We're worried about work, we're fearful of the boss, we're fearful of losing the job, worried about money, worried about relationships, fearful that someone will leave us, fearful we'll get sick. There's all this fear, and we're constantly in this anxious state. This is really where breath and meditation come in. And, you know, we've all seen animals shake it off, right? That's what happens. Like a bird being chased by a predator, or an animal out in the wild being chased by a predator. And then when it's safe, you just see it shake it off and then go back to swimming in the pond or eating the grass. And their body goes back to a normal adrenaline state, back into calm, right? Rather than hanging on to it. So imagine if we could just do that, right? We could just shake it off. Well, we can, and it's through breath. So when you find yourself in you know, those heart pumping situations, or you're constantly in anxiety or fear, and it all just feels too much, that breath is the human version of shaking it off. So let's all just take a breath right now. If you can, close your eyes. If you're driving, please don't. If you can, just close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to breathe in really deep, right into your stomach, so your stomach expands. Breathe in. Let it out. Let's do it again. Breathe in. And release. Let's do it one more time. Breathe in. And let out all the stress. Now, you can do this all throughout the day, or you can be very mindful in the moment of doing this when you are starting to feel nervous or fearful about something. Taking a breath will bring you to the present moment. And you know, the other thing I want to talk about is meditation. And I would imagine that many of you here watching this are already meditators. But if you're not, and you've always been too nervous, or you know, don't know how to meditate, let me just say to you that just throw out all of the rules. Just throw it all out, all the should do's and all the rest of it, because that can be keeping you stuck. Meditation is to really bring you to the present moment and take you out of that worry. Breath will do that. You can, if you want to start meditating, just sit somewhere comfortably. It doesn't matter how you're sitting. It doesn't matter where you're sitting. It doesn't matter how you breathe. It doesn't matter whether you're listening to something or not. Just take all those rules away. Just start. Just sit comfortably somewhere and just listen to your breath and be aware of your breath for 2 or 3 minutes. And by taking the awareness there, it will take it out of here. And when you get into that and you actually start to do that, then you can take on some specific meditation practices if you want to, right? But there's many ways to meditate, and I find that music, like really beautiful piano music or flute, helps me to let my thoughts go. And you know, often we'll sit there very tense thinking, well, you know, I can't stop the thoughts. So we can't stop the thoughts. Just let them go past like little boats on the river. and then focus on the space in between and just go, oh, okay, I've got to feed the dog. Oh, let that thought go. Oh, yes, I must write that list. Oh, let that thought go. Okay, just let them come and float away. And just breathe into your body. You really will feel peaceful and relaxed. And if you do have a daily meditation practice, that's amazing. And you really will find life is easier to cope with and bring yourself back to the present moment when you are breathing, when you are in present moment, when you are aware of how you are experiencing life right now. Now, the other thing I really want to say is that, you know, often we don't give ourselves the opportunity to change things in our life. Let me just get back to here. Often we haven't forgiven ourselves for all the things that we beat ourselves up for. And that really adds to a lot of the overwhelm. And it also stops us from stepping over the line and from doing these practices of breathing because we don't feel worthy enough, we don't feel good enough. So forgiveness of yourself here, all that blame and that shame of anything you may have done across your lifetime that you feel bad about, right? What if you were just doing the best you could at the time with what you knew? Well, that's actually the truth. And you're a different person now. And so, you know, we beat ourselves up so often. And when we're in that state of not feeling good enough, or, you know, why should I be feeling better when I did this 15 years ago, right? We need to forgive all that and move on. So here's a really beautiful saying that you can start saying to yourself, or write it down in your journal. I now forgive myself for anything that I'm feeling regretful about, feeling remorse, feeling bad about, beating myself up about, being mean to me about. I now forgive myself and let it go. I am free. And you may like to even work with that in your journal. When I'm working with my clients, we work on how you're treating yourself. And a lot of it comes from forgiveness of things that have happened in your life that you're still being mean to yourself about. Okay? So forgive yourself. Let it go. Let it go. All right. Shining your light and being in your own truth right now is the empowered state you have been blessed with, that no one can take away or control unless you allow it. And if you're not shining your light right now, maybe it's the shame and blame that you feel about something. Let it go. Forgive yourself. If you're not shining your light right now because you're overwhelmed and you're not feeling peaceful and calm, start with some breathing. Start with some breathing. Because you're the only one that allows it not to shine. All right, key number 5, shifting the old beliefs and sabotage. You know, when we start making changes to our life, our old beliefs will come up. This is what happens when clients are going through my process and we work on the self-sabotage, because it will come up. And mostly it's your inner child coming up saying, oh, I remember that was scary. I'm just trying to protect you. And so, you know, I'm going to instill some fear here and let's not do this. Once again, some forgiveness and some awareness really of what is coming up. Now, the thing that I like to do is really ask the question, if something comes up and you're sabotaging your next step, right? And this could look like, all right, I've stepped over the line, I'm going to get sorted, I'm going to make that phone call today, I'm going to move forward with this, I'm going to do that painting, I'm going to start that book, whatever it is for you, and then you'll really distract yourself and procrastinate and nothing will get done. That is a form of self-sabotage too. So just be aware of what's going on. And if you find yourself procrastinating or something comes up or, you can't get to where you need to go, your car mysteriously gets a flat tire, like there's no accidents, then ask yourself, is this my belief or am I buying into somebody else's belief that something about what they told me when I was 6 or when I was 20? That is the easiest, fastest way to become present. Is this my belief and is it true for me anymore? And then you can talk to that inner child, or you can acknowledge and be aware of that belief and say, oh, okay, no, I don't believe that anymore. I'm good now to move forward. So being in the awareness really will stop this self-sabotage. And self-sabotage is a whole other class, but it is something I work with clients with, and it's an important thing for you to remember and be aware. And the thing that really helps move through any of that is to have a strong vision. What is the vision that you have for your life? And what brings you joy? I've had a strong vision for 10 years now. I don't know the exact pieces of it all. It's like a jigsaw puzzle without all the components. I can see it, but the bits aren't there yet. But they're slowly unfolding. But that vision has helped me rise up against all sorts of things that would have held me back and made me stop moving forward in a direction of my dreams. So what is your vision and what brings you joy? It's important to have that to lift you up out of those muddy times. It's important to have that vision. So another great question for you to ask yourself. And as I was saying, a lot of the clients that come to me, it's really about clarity here. It's really about clarity here. And I interpret and clarify messages from higher self, from spirit. And we actually get to what the actual issue is, right? And it's never what we think it is. Whatever you think your problem is right now, there'll be something deeper that's actually creating it. And so rather than just band-aiding something, we get to the actual issue and clear it. So you're free then to explore those new adventures and to move forward in purpose and in passion. And the people work with me in several ways. I have one-off sessions, or you can have a series of them to really clarify your purpose. Or if you're really looking for a breakthrough, you can have a breakthrough soul session, which has incredible results. And of course, I really love to work with people for a 3 or 6 month period. Why? Because then, as you're going through those changes and those shifts, I'm there with a supportive hand on your back and a supportive environment for when all that sabotage comes up, or when any time you start going backwards or you need support. And I just find that, in that supportive environment and with somebody there for you with the ups and downs of change, you can move forward to a place where a lot of the old beliefs can stay in the past. And so that's with the dynamic transformation 5-step process, which actually takes you to a different parallel reality where you're already living the life that you're dreaming of. It's a fantastic process. So I really want to thank you for coming and honouring yourself, really, to take the time to learn about this and to learn some key points to moving forward out of whatever your overwhelm is right now, and moving into a life that's peaceful, that's calm, and that is on purpose and fulfilling for you. Now, you can head over to my website for free stuff and to find out more about how you can work with me. So that's at trishrock.com. Here's my email address here up on the screen. You're welcome to email me. I've got some freebies over there, including my Life Alignment Oracle card deck. If you go to the freebie tab and drop down to the Oracle card deck, you can go onto that page and click on the pictures, and you can get a reading for yourself, which is great. All the meanings are there on the page too. Some people go there every day. And I would love you to join my Facebook community, Trish Rock Abundance, where I do daily readings and lots of inspirational stuff. If anything here has sparked something in you and you want to really move forward in a more peaceful, calm, purposeful way in life, then please book a free discovery call with me. You can find that on my website, or you can email me, and let's get together for 20 minutes and let's talk about your dream and your next steps. All right, it's been my absolute pleasure to present this for you today, and once again, thank you for coming along, and I hope these tips are going to be integrated into your life so that you can experience more calm, more peace, and a life where you feel more in charge. Thank you. I'm Trish Rock, and I hope to talk to you soon.